Homeless girl left message in library book. Hours later, what 400 Hells Angels did next. The first thing she wrote was not a cry for help, but a promise to herself. On the inside page of a worn library book, between faded stamps and folded corners, a trembling hand left a message that felt like a last whisper from a life disappearing. If someone finds this, please know I tried. I'm cold. I'm tired. I still believe people can be good. In the quiet hum of the empty library, with rain ticking like impatient fingers on the windows, it looked less like ink and more like a tear soaked into paper. That fragile line of hope, hidden where only a curious reader might ever see it, would become the spark for something larger than anyone could have imagined. Before we go deeper, if you believe kindness still matters and everyone deserves a second chance, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes reminders of compassion are what keep stories like this alive. She had been drifting for weeks, a teenage girl with a backpack that had become her entire world, sleeping under bridges and in corners that smelled of gasoline and loneliness. The library was the only place that didn't look at her with suspicion. It smelled of paper and dust and memories, and the old lamps cast pools of golden light that felt like warmth even when her bones shook from the cold outside. Hunger had sharpened her senses. Every sound felt louder. Every step felt heavier. She wasn't running from something dramatic and cinematic. She was simply slowly fading, losing the small pieces of herself that made life feel possible, and clinging desperately to one belief, that if she could just leave a sign, someone might notice before she disappeared. The message in the book was written with the stub of a borrowed pencil. She had no plan, only a feeling that words could travel further than she could. That night, she slept behind the library dumpster, curled inside an oversized coat she had, found in a donation box, listening to the thunder roll like a distant drum. The world carried on above and around her, traffic, laughter, people warm inside homes, while she counted heartbeats and wondered how quietly a life could end. The book wasn't opened by a librarian or a teacher or even a kind stranger. It was opened by accident at a roadside diner 2 towns away by a man with hands scarred by engines and years of hard roads. The book had been misplaced, checked out, left behind, and somehow traveled like fate itself. He saw the message because the page slipped open and the pencil marks seemed darker than the print around it. He wasn't the kind of man used to soft things, but something broke open inside him when he read it. He knew what it meant to be invisible, to be judged, to be written off as trouble. He took a picture of the page, sent it to the only group he trusted, and within minutes the message was spreading faster than the storm clouds in the sky. That group was a brotherhood of riders, 400 strong, men and women who had lived on the highways and learned the hard truth that the world doesn't always give mercy. People called them many names, whispered fears and stories about them. But beneath the leather and noise were hearts that remembered hunger, loss, and cold nights. They didn't post hashtags or write speeches. They made plans. Maps were shared. Roads were marked. The library became the center of a search that grew quietly, without cameras, without applause. Bikes rolled through the night like thunder with purpose. The girl woke up to the sound of engines. At first, she felt fear. She pulled the coat around her face and curled smaller. Then she noticed the silence that followed, not angry, not threatening, just still and careful. Boots stepped into the alley and gloved hands set down bags instead of barriers. Warm food, blankets, and a jacket that smelled like leather and rain were placed gently beside her. A note written in block letters said only, "You matter. Stay. We've got you." She didn't know whether to cry or run, and so she did neither. She waited. The sky brightened, and for the first time in days, she ate until the shaking stopped. The riders didn't take photos. They didn't make speeches. They simply stayed. Some spoke with the librarian and arranged for a quiet corner where she could sit without fear. Others called shelters they trusted, places where compassion came before paperwork. They pooled money. They found a counselor. They found a spare room with clean sheets and a door that locked from the inside for safety, not to trap. And most importantly, they let her tell her story, not in dramatic headlines, but in soft, halting sentences that carried more weight than any documentary. She had left home because the bruises at night were louder than the voices at school. She had not wanted to be saved by strangers. She had only wanted someone to notice. Slowly, life began to take on new shapes. Her name was written on a coffee mug. Her shoes were replaced. Her hair was washed. She started going back to the library, this time not to hide, but to read at a table beneath the warm glow of the lamps. The men and women who rode in on roaring engines now came by in small groups, sitting quietly nearby, all rough edges softened by the quiet knowledge that they had chosen to be part of something good. Kindness, when multiplied, doesn't make noise, it makes roots. The woman who ran the shelter said later that she had never seen such coordinated, stubborn compassion. They didn't disappear after one night. They returned with meals, with job leads, with phone calls to check in, with reminders that she wasn't a burden. The girl learned to sleep without fear. She learned to speak without whispering. She learned that sometimes the people the world is most afraid of are the ones who understand pain the most deeply. And in the quiet, unphotographed moments, healing began. Months later, she returned to the library and found the same book. The page where she had written her message looked older now, wrinkled at the edges. Beneath her words, someone had written another line in careful handwriting: "We found you. We will keep finding others." She closed the book, pressed it to her chest, and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, the steady rise of tomorrow. If this story has touched your heart even a little, I hope you'll like, comment, share, and subscribe, not for numbers, but to spread reminders that compassion still travels farther than we ever see. Before we close, I want to ask you one special thing. Leave a comment with a few words of encouragement for anyone out there who might feel invisible tonight. Your words might become someone's reason to hold on. And so the story doesn't end with applause or headlines, but with quiet mornings, warm rooms, and a girl who now studies beneath the same lamps that once watched her shiver. The roar of the bikes fades into memory, not as fear, but as the sound of hope arriving. Somewhere, another book waits, another message waits. And somewhere on the road, people are ready to answer, proving again that even in the darkest corners, goodness can find its way back.